platforms, including Instagram and Threads and Spill and all of them at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. That's DrNiiQuartelai. Pro tip, just type in Dr. Nee and there I am. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And like magic, there she goes. Also, be sure to check out the open mic feature on the KBLA app. Leave us a voice note. Maybe you have a thought or two about one of our headlines or brilliant guest. We want to hear from you. Also, last but not least, subscribe to a More Perfect Union podcast. That way, no matter what, you'll never miss an episode. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And topping us off, the former tabloid publisher testifies about manufacturing story about Ted Cruz's father and JFK assassination. What else could I be talking about but the Trump trial? As the judge blasts Trump's lawyer during a gag order argument. This is what to know right now about the Trump trial. Judge Juan Merchan will wait until later to rule after a hearing today on whether Donald Trump violated his gag order with social media posts attacking likely witnesses. Court will end at about 2 p.m. Eastern time, so it just ended for Passover. During the testimony, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker detailed making up the piece the publication ran about Senator Ted Cruz's father, knowing John F. Kennedy's assassin. He also detailed working with Michael Cohen to target Trump's primary opponents. Trump faces 34 counts of falsifying business records related to the hush money payments to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. He has pleaded not guilty and denied a relationship with Daniels. And here we are, just day 5 into the trial, so stay tuned. Moving along, the Department of Justice is paying nearly $140 million to survivors of Larry Nassar's sexual abuse in a settlement. That's right. The Department of Justice announced today that it will pay nearly $139 million to survivors of Larry Nassar's sexual abuse as a part of a settlement stemming from the FBI's mishandling of the initial allegations. USA Today and the Wall Street Journal are reporting that a settlement has been agreed upon and would stretch into the 9 figures. The Department of Justice specified in a news release that an amount of nearly $140 million, it's really $138.7 million, will be distributed to a group of 139 victims, working out to roughly $1 million per claimant on average. Olympic champions Simone Biles, Michaela Maroney, and Ali Raceman were among the more than 100 victims who filed claims with the Department of Justice in 2022. Roughly a year after the release of a report by the department's Inspector General, the report found that FBI officials in Indianapolis failed to respond to allegations of abuse that they received involving Nassar with the utmost seriousness and urgency in 2015, a delay that allowed the abuse to continue. And as Trump molds his VP pick, an abortion rights group has warned about extremist candidates. As former President Trump moves just closer and closer to selecting his running mate, a major Democratic abortion rights advocacy group is taking his pool of vice presidential contenders to task over their record on reproductive rights. Emily's List, a group dedicated to electing Democratic candidates who back abortion rights, is focusing its annual On Notice list on Trump's ever-evolving list of running mates to highlight what it calls their extreme anti-abortion agenda. The list of 14 GOP contenders for the vice presidential nomination, the group names include often mentioned figures like Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, Representative Elise Stefanik of New York, Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, and Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, as well as other former administration officials and allies like Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, former Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, Representative Byron Donalds of Florida, and Senator Katie Britt of Alabama, as well as Arizona candidate Kari Lake. The group lists former Republican presidential candidates like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. They say their message with these Republicans VP picks is it's really simple. Emily's List sees the extremism, and they say that they're putting them on notice that this is going to be a ticket that supporters of an extreme abortion agenda. That's what Emily's List president Jessica Mackler has said in an interview. And so Emily's List, one of the most powerful Democratic organizations that exist to elect Democrats across the country, pro-choice Democrats, that is, they are putting Trump and his team on notice. We'll see in the coming days if they notice. When we come forward, we are digging a little bit deeper into our coverage of Earth Day. We know Earth Day was yesterday, but we had quite a weekend. I had a chance to spend it in Compton with our very own Tavis Smiley, in conversation with some pretty incredible leaders on the front lines. They are leading what's called the Compton Initiative. And when we come forward, I can't wait to share some highlights from my interview with Todd Bouquet Jr. And the pastor that you will not want to miss when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Reverend Gerald, host of Urban Family Focus here on KBLA Talk 1580 on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. In an effort to help reduce the impact of hypertension in our community, Providence is offering free hypertension assessments. The first 30 people to visit KBLA1580.com and use the link or QR code to register will receive 2 tickets to the Amazing Grace Conservatory presentation of Aladdin, A Whole New World for Real, at the Crenshaw Performing Arts Center, May 25th and 26th. Go to KBLA1580.com right now and be one of the first 30 to register for your hypertension screening and receive 2 tickets to Aladdin, compliments of Providence and KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580. It is our live Earth Day celebration. We know Earth Day is on Monday, but this is the beginning of the Earth Day celebration. We're doing it KBLA style. It is a beautiful day here in the city of Compton, where there are folks of all walks of life from across the community that are here cleaning up the community, and that are here, really in the spirit of love thy neighbor. That's what we've been talking about all this morning. And in that spirit, I want to welcome our next guest, Pastor Ken Corver. I want to welcome Pastor Ken here. I also want to welcome Todd Bouquet Jr. Todd is the man. Let me just say it. Todd is the man. Todd is the man. Yeah. He is the man. He's also the program coordinator for the Compton Initiative.
I said he's the man. Didn't I say he's the man?
You said he's the man.
Todd is the man.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Captain Ken, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Good to see you.
Good to see you. You were the first person I met when I stepped out of the car this morning. Tell me the role that Pastor Ken plays in these parks.
Yeah, so I'm the president of the Compton Initiative of what's happening, and founded it. I'm from the city of Paramount. I'll say it in 1 minute. Paramount was considered a disaster site. It's become a beautiful city. Our church learned to paint. We partnered with the top of the city. Together, we invited the city to join a movement. Paramount's now a beautiful city. We live next door to Compton, and I'm a pastor, and we repented of not caring. So we repented and made a 40-year commitment. We're in year 18. We've painted every school in Compton twice. We've painted 1,600 grandma homes. We've been doing good. But when you lead, you got to look at what are you doing well and where you're failing. So what I did well is I led God help there be a very successful nonprofit. Where I failed is it wasn't a movement. So we spent millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of hours. There's not a movement yet. A movement happens when the top, the bottom, and the middle all say, could we unite around one theme? No trash.
Yeah.
We're not trash. None of us are trash. So there doesn't need to be any trash in Compton.
He's preaching.
Could we be united around
preaching.
no trash?
Yeah.
So let me make it practical then. So this is a big day. We also have it every third Saturday. We invite people to go out and just do good.
Yes.
We invite people to do the simplest thing. Could we on a third Saturday, could you pick up trash in front of your church, your school, your business? And could we become friends around one concept? There's no trash. Because once we take on no trash, there's other things we can take on together, not be separated, but be one group.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working toward. And if I could say anything that people are hearing is, we're asking everybody to step outside their house and just do good. Step outside your school, business, church. And could we unite on no trash? And then could we figure out later on to tackle more things? And we meet on third Saturday. There's always something happening here, but we want it in front of your church, your school, your business, your home. Let it happen. And let's tell each other what we're doing. Let's be united.
What is I'm curious now. I always love the backstory. What is the origin? What's the backstory of how all this came to be?
My dad was the pastor of the church, and then I'm now the pastor of the church. I'm an old guy with gray hair, 64.
Name the church. I want to name the church.
The church is Emmanuel Reformed Church in Paramount.
Okay.
And so my dad, here's a scripture from the Bible.
Give it to me.
Here's 3 of them. So one is, our Father who art in heaven, let your kingdom come and your will be done right here in Compton as in heaven. Here's one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Jeremiah 29. You always have people quoting one part of it. They don't get to this part. God turned and he said to people in the Old Testament, don't complain about Babylon. Stop complaining. Seek the welfare of the city. Pray for the city. Have children, build gardens, have them have children. Seek the welfare of the city. Pray for the city. Because if your city prospers, you too will prosper. So that's scripture. Then Jesus' first sermon, Luke chapter 4, he's quoting Isaiah 61. And it talks about how not the morning and all, but the Spirit of the Lord is on me to preach good news to the poor. And he goes on and go read Isaiah 61.
Come on.
And the poor are going to be cared for, and the cities are no longer going to be ruined. And it's going to be a change. That's Jesus' first sermon. So that's what motivates us. Because why should a beloved city like Compton be known for negative things when, by the way, you know how Compton started? A church colony. Compton started as a Methodist church colony. And so I'm praying that this place would look like Jesus is loving it up. So that's in our hearts. It's a
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That Jesus is loving it up.
That's right.
So that's what we're, so we don't force our faith on anybody.
Yeah.
But you asked me where this is coming from.
No,
so I
that's
told
why
you.
I asked, man. No, we don't believe in proselytizing around it, but we do believe in telling the truth.
Well, that's it.
And that's the truth, man. And so I'm glad I asked that question. I said earlier that Todd is the man, only because I've heard Todd's name 1,000 times. I have a person on my team named Charlotte Bates White. And Charlotte has been our point person organizing the KBLA outing today. And if I heard Todd's name once, I heard it Todd said this and Todd this and Todd this and Todd that. When I got off the truck, I said, where is Todd? I got to meet this dude named Todd. So I finally met Todd. So Todd, first of all, thank you for the work and witness that you are engaged in. I know more about you than you think I know about your family and your kids and the work ongoing. I knew about the house before I got here. But you've done some amazing work here. You've not just been committed, but obviously it's your conviction, it's your character. that's allowed you to be so engaged in this. And we just want to thank you for allowing us to partner with you today and to bring KBLA down here to make our audience aware of the great work that you are doing. So tell me about the work you've been doing.
Oh man, we just really blessed to have you guys here. Blessed to have everybody that's here today.
You hear that accent, don't you? You know where it's from, don't you? Take a wild guess.
You see, I cocked my head to the side. I said, "Wait a minute."
Take a wild guess. Oh, Todd,
you want to shoot for? You want to guess?
You want to guess?
I would guess New Orleans.
There you go.
You're
That's
close.
just a stab in the dark.
You're close. It's about an hour and a half southwest of New Orleans, a little
Close
town
enough.
called Cocodrie. Yes, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
But I came out here, man of God, praying. I just been keeping prayer at the forefront of everything that I do, and trying to be led by God, because there was one time where I was led by my own, thoughts and my own plans, and I saw where that got me. So being led, here in the Compton Initiative, I started volunteering, about 3 years ago, volunteering with the Compton Initiative. And I just love what they were doing, man. I just love the diversity of it. I love the way people are coming out and engaging, and loving on their community, loving on their neighbors. It reminded me of something that I witnessed back home, after the Hurricane Katrina, Rhea, just all the the community comes together and we love on one another. You never know a stranger. If you're hungry, come on in, we're going to feed you. If you need a place to sleep, come on, you can sleep on my couch for the weekend. If you need some clothes, I give you the shirt off my back. So it reminded me of that, of something I grew up around. So I want to be a part of it. And just really, really thankful that I was invited to come on board full time, because it's not only been transformative in my life, I'm seeing it be transformative in my family's life. I'm seeing it have tertiary and far-reaching effects into generations of family members that are just like, wow, this has never been done before. The neighbors are telling me, man, this has never been done before. They got a guy lives right here behind me. He's been here 40, 50 years, ex-gangbang and everything. He said, man, this neighborhood, this street used to be rampant right here. At one time you couldn't even walk outside of your front door. And times have changed. He said, but this is something different. He said, we ain't never seen nothing like this. He said, keep doing what you're doing. So the goal is that we're going to be consistent doing what we're doing, being obedient to the word of God, exemplifying Christ, and being a bright light everywhere we go, and that others would see that and want to be a part of it. And that others would have their lives transformed as well.
Amen, amen, amen. We've been saying this all this morning. The spirit of love thy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't even know this was the story.
Oh yeah, this is the backstory
related to the Compton Initiative.
We saved the backstory to the end, but this is the backstory.
Yeah. But we've been feeling this all day,
Praise God.
and that doesn't happen by itself. And so for our leaders, learners, and listeners that are tapping in right now, how can they be a part of the Compton Initiative? Where can they go to support the Compton Initiative?
The way they can do it, I'm going to let Todd give the details. The bottom line is that our hearts would love Compton, and then we would give ourselves toward the cleaning and beautifying of Compton. There's more than cleaning and beautifying, but there's not less. So we got to get there, and I'll let Todd share how people can jump in.
Yeah, so you can go to our website, justdogood.org. It's really easy to remember, justdogood.org. You can check out our webpage, check out pictures and photos, everything that we're doing there. You could also sign up. If you live, work, or serve in the city of Compton, even if you just got family members, you got a cousin or you got an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that lives in the city of Compton and you're familiar with the area, and if you want to come out and do good, every month on the third Saturday, we right here at 212 West Cypress Street. We open up our home for anybody to come, and we do good. And so sign up on the website, and we all about action. We don't just talk about it. We really out here doing it. So it sounds good whenever somebody's just running a good game on you, saying, oh yeah, and it sounds good, but no, we need servants. We need people that want to show up, willing to do the work, be consistent, and truly love their neighbor, because the goal is to have an actual citywide movement. We want this to be transformative for the whole city, so that the city can heal and the city can be, it can reflect the beauty that's really within.
So Todd, I want to jump in and say something. He would then bring up the details. Okay. So long story short, though, we succeeded at having for 15 years, having like 2,000 people show up to paint 2 schools, a church, and 30 grandma houses on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. But it was a successful nonprofit, but it was not a successful movement. So we switched it. So I'll let Todd give details, but we're asking on every third Saturday that people would try to do something, just do good. And so the city has come up with a resolution called Clean and Beautify. Mm-hmm. And so the city has that. So what we're wondering is hashtag clean and beautify, hashtag serve and share. We now have a monthly accountability meeting. We actually can't have everybody come to the accountability meeting, but we're at the accountability meeting. We say to top people, are you in? What did you do last month? And what are you going to do this next month? And who you're bringing in? So there's an actual answer then. I'm either in or I'm not in. I either did something or I didn't do something. I'm either going to do something or I'm not going to do something. I either bring somebody in or I'm not. So it's easy to talk. And so I want to confess where I failed. I have not succeeded in creating a movement, but we are giving our lives trying to create a movement. And we're asking church, school, business, residents, block clubs, could you serve and share? Could you clean and beautify, serve and share, clean and beautify, serve and share. So what I'm missing, could you explain any detail I'm missing on how we actually get people to do this?
Before Todd does that, let me just I just met you 2 hours ago and I got here, but I love your energy. I love your passion. I love your truth. I love your transparency. And that twice now you said publicly on radio, we're being heard around the country, around the world, where you have failed regarding this movement. I wanted to share something with you for you to consider. I'm a student of history, and I've written a number of books about this over the course of my career. And here's my view, Pastor Ken, that movements in our world are very rare. I don't want you to be too hard on yourself. Movements are very rare. And here's how you get a movement. I call it the 3 M's. You start with a moment. That moment builds momentum. And if you're lucky, if you're blessed, that momentum turns into a movement. But that's the process. Moment, momentum, and movement. And we live in a world where people bastardize language. The word movement gets bandied about so much. Most of these things ain't movements. You may have a moment, you may have some momentum, but brother, sister, it ain't a movement yet. Movements are very rare. The civil rights movement is a rare thing. So we talk about it all the time. The Black Lives Matter movement. But these movements are very rare. So you start with a moment. That moment builds momentum and it turns into a movement. But as you know, that don't happen overnight. So my point to you is lovingly and respectfully, you on your way to movement. Now, I don't know where you are in that process. My sense is you're in the momentum phase already. The moment happened. Am I right? Can I preach? Can I preach?
Go ahead.
The moment happened a while ago. You are clearly in momentum. We see that. We feel that right now.
Say that.
You're in momentum. That movement is on the way. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen because the two of you and everybody else in the Compton Initiative are dedicated to that. You're dedicated. You're driving the conversation. You're doing the work. You're being faithful. And so I'm confident that that movement in this city is going to happen. It's going to move beyond this city, but just be mindful. Moment, momentum, and movement. You on your way, man.
Hey, thank you.
Does that make sense?
It does.
You're on your way, bro.
Thanks for teaching.
Yeah.
Thanks for encouraging.
And
then in your role, what I would just throw at you, whatever you could do when you think of Compton is tell people, you know what, it's happened. Something's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Can you jump in?
Sure.
Can you jump in?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
And then whatever they do, serve and share what you're doing. So, this church is in, this school is in.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've shared this 100 times. There probably were Rosa Parks before Rosa Parks.
No question.
But when Rosa Parks did it, what I understand is she helped rally the pastors, the politicians. They joined together on one theme. We're not going to the back of the bus.
That's right.
I would love to have the city rally around, you know what? There's no trash, because we can tackle other problems once we tackle that one.
And Rosa Parks, if she were here, you'll be happy to know. I think I knew Rosa Parks.
Wow.
She's a dear friend of mine. My very first book signing was a joint book signing with Rosa Parks. She was my dear friend. I spoke at her. I eulogized her.
Wow.
There were three services to eulogize Ms. Parks. The first was at her home church in Montgomery, where she sat down on that bus. I was one of the eulogists for her service in Montgomery. So I knew her well. So you mentioning her name just gives me goosebumps.
Wow.
But if she were here, she would tell you, to your point about Rosa Parks, before Rosa Parks, there were others. And she would tell you where she heard that she was actually thinking about Emmett Till. But when she sat down in that seat and refused to move, she was thinking about Emmett Till. And so we're all part of a continuum. And the work that you are doing here is going to grow, it's going to build, it's going to expand, because you are part of a continuum of doing good, as y'all say, just doing good anyway. I got about 45 seconds. Todd, I'll give you 45 seconds. You can say anything you want to say. I just love your accent, man. What you want to tell me?
Man,
what you want to tell me? 45 seconds.
Man, I just want to say I love all of y'all. I just want to say God bless all of y'all, and just anything that you're dealing with in your life, bring it to God. If everybody out there is struggling with something, I just encourage everybody, give it to God, put it in God's hand, get you some peace, get you some rest, and then get back up on your feet, let God pick you up and dust yourself off, and only He can do it like nobody else. I'm telling you, man. He did it in my my life. He's doing it right here in the city of Compton. He's going to continue to do it. He's in the business of changing lives. Let him change yours.
Thank you. As we say, won't he do it? Won't he will?
He sure will.
Won't he do it? Won't he will?
And we feel it. Our thanks to Pastor Ken Corver of the Emmanuel Reformed Church, also the president of the Compton Initiative. Also, big thanks to Todd Bouquet Jr., the program coordinator for the Compton Initiative. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you.
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
We really
Thank you
appreciate
both.
your
God be
work.
with you. Thank you.
And Nii-Quartelai, thank you, sir, for hanging out with me for the last couple hours.
Wouldn't change it for the world.
It's been an amazing, amazing day as we broadcasted live from the city of Compton as part of KBLA Talk 1580's Earth Day celebration. Earth Day officially on Monday, but we are pleased to partner with the city of Compton. We thank again Mayor Emma Sharif for this partnership, allowing us to broadcast live from the CPT. You are listening to KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy is congratulating Rock and Roll Hall of Fame honorees from the state. The governor tweeted his congratulations to New Jersey's own Dionne Warwick and Kool and the Gang. They joined other tri-state locals who will be inducted, including Mary J. Blige of Yonkers and A Tribe Called Quest, who grew up in Queens. This year's ceremony takes place on October 19th at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland. A lawsuit filed against Nassau County, New York, claims racial bias in its district maps. The civil rights suit alleges manipulation in the map-making process to water down the influence of the county's Black, Asian, and Latino voters. The white population makes up 56% of the roughly 1.4 million residents of Nassau County. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers are back in action tonight against Dallas. It's game 2 of the best-of-7 first-round playoff series. 7 p.m. tip-off on TNT. The Clippers have a 1-0 lead. Kawhi Leonard is questionable again with a sore right knee. Kawhi has been limited to non-contact drills in practice over the past week. He has not played since March 31st. If Kawhi does not suit up, the Clippers will have to do a much better job defensively on Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. The Dallas duo combined for 64 points and 17 free throw attempts in Game 1. Some very troubling numbers for the Lakers after 2 losses to Denver. The Lakers bench has scored only 17 points in the 2 games, all by reserve forward Taurean Prince. Spencer Dinwiddie, Gabe Vincent, and Jackson Hayes are scoreless in both games. The Lakers will need a dramatic improvement from their bench for Game 3 Thursday night. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. Climate is king.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Getting connected has never been easier. Get free Wi-Fi at all LA County library locations, inside the library and outside in the parking lots. Visit your local library and get connected today.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and keeping up with this recurring theme around Earth Day. Really, it's feeling more like Earth Week. There's so much that's happening on the climate resilience front that we want to get you all up to speed. High speed, that is. High-speed rail to Las Vegas is coming as soon as 2028. Here are some of the details as reported by the Los Angeles Times. Southern California can expect to board high-speed trains as soon as 2028 for a 2-hour ride to Las Vegas. Officials on the $12 billion project, that's billion with a B, said when construction ceremonially, they said that when construction ceremonially broke ground just this past Monday in Vegas, at the soon-to-be site of Brightline's train depot in Las Vegas. U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who we've had on this show before and is no stranger to KBLA, joined Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo and Brightline executives to tout the 218-mile federally subsidized electric rail system. Backers of the line say that it will help reduce pollution along often congested Interstate 15, which runs between the two regions. The project, whose construction launched on Earth Day, is expected to cut 800 million pounds of carbon pollution a year once it's completed. That's what Secretary Buttigieg said. He was there, and look, that's important news to folks that are on the front lines of this fight around climate change. Its new proposed railway has rapidly gone from blueprints to construction, unlike California's high-speed line between Los Angeles and the Bay Area, whose progress has been slowed to a crawl by political disputes, cost overruns, and permitting delays. To get the LA to Vegas idea off the ground, the federal government awarded Brightline West $3 billion from the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which authorized up to $102 billion for rail improvements. The rest of the project will be privately funded, although taxpayers are contributing there as well. The Biden administration has enabled the project to borrow $3.5 billion through tax-exempt bonds. The rail line will run within the highway median and support speeds of up to 200 miles per hour. Upon completion, it will include 322 miles of overhead electrical lines to power the train. Look, can't wait to see it. Part of me says I'll believe it when I see it. We've been talking about high-speed rail most of my adult life, and so we shall see. Southern California can catch a ride on the high-speed train at stations in Rancho Cucamonga, Hesperia, Victor Valley and Las Vegas. Those are the proposed stops, and also about 4 miles north of Ontario International Airport. And so this could be a real boon to the region if it happens in its fullness. We'll keep you posted on that. Also in California news, California wants to harness more than half of its land to combat climate change by 2045. That sounds pretty ambitious. And so if you're like me, you're probably wondering, well, how are they going to do that? Well, according to the LA Times, California has unveiled an ambitious plan to help combat the worsening climate crisis with one of its invaluable assets. Can you guess what it is? It's land. Over the next 20 years, the state will work to transform more than half of its 100 million acres into multi-benefit landscapes that can absorb more carbon than they release. That's what officials announced just this past Monday. The so-called nature-based solutions will span natural and working lands such as forests and farms and grasslands, as well as deserts and other types of ecosystems and urban environments. The first of its kind plan, part of Governor Gavin Newsom's California climate commitment geared towards helping the state reach carbon neutrality by 2045, includes 81 targets that will help harness the power of millions of acres across the Golden State. Among the 2045 targets announced just this past Monday are 33.5 million acres. Who knew we had that much land? 33.5 million acres that will be managed to reduce wildfire risk, mostly through fuel reduction activities and beneficial fire practices. Those practices include cultural and prescribed burns, which are intentional fires designed to sear through overgrown vegetation and other material that can act as fuel for flames. And so, look, California, so we ain't waiting. We ain't waiting for, a silver bullet in terms of how to combat climate change. We're going to do all the things. And this is just the latest in terms of what we're doing. When we say doing your part to demonstrate climate resilience and fight against climate change, this is what it looks like in California. And chances are it's part of what it might look like in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. That's how it happens when you are on the cutting edge. Shifting gears a little bit, Mayor Bass's budget would reduce homelessness funding and also scale back LAPD hiring goals. That's right. LA Mayor Karen Bass proposed a $12.8 billion budget on Monday that would reduce spending on homelessness initiatives and scale back an effort to hire more police officers and eliminate more than 2,100 vacant positions. The mayor's team said that her proposed budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year would provide about $950 million to address homelessness, down from the nearly $1.3 billion approved for the current fiscal year. Her spending plan includes $185 million for Inside Safe, which is Mayor Bass's signature program to move unhoused Angelenos into hotels, motels, and permanent housing, down from $250 million approved for this year. So that Inside Safe program going from $185 to $250 million. Mayor Bass has been reducing homelessness. She's made reducing homelessness her top issue, declaring a state of emergency upon taking office in December 2022. Budget analysts attributed much of the decrease in homelessness spending to the coming end of Proposition HHH, which you might remember is a 10-year program to finance construction of thousands of apartments for homeless residents in LA. And so even though that money will soon run out, a number of affordable housing projects that received HHH funding will open during the upcoming budget year. And so the mayor's team has said that it's now right-sizing the Inside Safe program by negotiating more cost-effective room rental agreements at city-leased hotels and motels. And even with the reduction of funding, the public should expect to see declining numbers of people living on the streets in the coming year. And so, I know that's a lot to it's a lot to unpack. It's a very big difference in those numbers, and it's important that that we make sure that we don't lose sight of how the budget is being organized to not just meet the moment, but to deliver on some of the espoused values of any elected official. I mean, I think it was some wise person who said, if you show me your budget, I can show you your values. And so we know that May 23rd, the LA City Council will be taking up the proposed budget and voting on it, and they have to vote on it and then send it to the mayor for signature in order for it to be adopted. And so between now and May 23rd, really for the next month, people have an opportunity to make your voices heard and to reach out to your city council member, to reach out to the mayor's office. And if you have any questions about this proposed budget, which affects every Angelino in the city, where our home station is, this is the time to do that. This is the time to do that. I had a chance to learn from some senior officials in the Bass administration that when it comes to this budget, they're making investments in a lot of different areas, including potential acquisitions of permanent housing properties. There's an investment of, I think, $28 million in support for permanent housing and limited subsidies, and $60 million for supportive services. And so, I think it's important that, we look at these investments in a comprehensive way. It's very easy to just kind of, pick one line item and say, wait a minute, this is less than the previous year, that must be a bad thing. That's not always the case. And in my conversations, that didn't appear to be the case here. And so, again, for the next month, folks have a chance to dig in to this budget, and we certainly encourage folks to do so. And we'll be sure to have some experts on sometime within the next month to help us sort of, pick apart pieces of this budget. Because as goes California, as goes nation, as goes Los Angeles, as goes a lot of cities across the country and around the world, we're preparing to host a lot of people for the Olympics and other big entertainment events. And so, folks want, a safe LA. They want a clean LA. They want an LA that respects the dignity of workers. I'm talking about, public workers and a city that respects the dignity, of all people. And so the investments that Los Angeles makes now will either make that possible or not. And I think there are a lot of people that want to be a very powerful example to the world when we have a number of invited guests that come to town to experience some pretty big world events. And so we'll continue to keep our eye on that and keep learning. When we come forward, it's time for the quiet part out loud. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
City of Los Angeles landlords, verify your tenant's emergency renters assistance program status today. Tenants approved for rental assistance are protected from eviction for non-payment of rent through May 31st, 2024. Approved rental assistance applications protect tenants from eviction for non-payment of rent. Refusing to accept rental assistance based on their source of income is illegal under law and can be used as a defense in an eviction case. Check your tenant's application status now at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils
formed the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Free. Who doesn't love free? With Milo's Rewards, you get the member-only treatment that's actually worth it. Enjoy free member gifts you'll love. And once you reach Silver Key status, you can get free standard shipping. Because Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/Milo's Rewards today. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Member gifts may be subject to additional terms and restrictions. See Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details. Subject to change.
Find the righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
On KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and it is time for the quiet part out loud. But before we get to that, while we've been on air, the FTC has issued a ban on worker non-compete clauses. That's right. The Federal Trade Commission just today banned employers from limiting their workers' ability to work for rivals, a sweeping change that the agency says could help raise wages and increase competition among businesses. The move bars contracts known as non-competes, which prevent workers from leaving for a competitor for a certain amount of time in most circumstances. The agency has said that the proposal would raise wages by forcing companies to compete harder for talent. The New York Times is reporting that the proposal was approved by the agency in a 3-2 vote. We also know that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce vowed to sue the FTC to block the proposal, calling it, quote, an unlawful power grab. In a statement shortly after the decision, employers have argued that non-competes help protect trade secrets and other confidential information. The rule would become law 120 days after it's published in the Federal Register, which will probably happen in a few days, but legal challenges could delay or block the change. And so a little bit of news breaking this afternoon, where the FTC has issued a ban on worker non-compete clauses. We'll see if that holds up. Clearly, in the world, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, they would not have it hold up at all. But in other worker news, did you all hear about this? Google fired at least 20 additional workers after last week's Gaza protests. That's what a group says. Google fired additional workers this week after it initially terminated 28 people who it said participated in recent protests against the company's work in Israel. The total number of employees terminated in the wake of the protests, which took place inside of Google's offices in New York and Sunnyvale, California, has grown to more than 50 people, with more than 20 people ousted on Monday night, according to the No Tech for Apartheid campaign, the advocacy group that organized the sit-ins. Google, in a statement, confirmed that the company had cut additional workers as a result of its investigation into the protests, but did not say how many. The spokesperson said it took more time to identify some of the participants because their faces were concealed by masks and they weren't wearing their employee badges. The protest group has previously decried the firings and alleged that some of the terminated protesters didn't participate directly in events, a contention that Google vigorously disputed. On April 16th, the campaign held rallies outside of Google offices. Dozens of employees sat for hours in sit-ins in New York City and Sunnyvale, and 9 people were arrested for trespassing. The campaign is pushing for the company to drop its cloud computing contract with the Israeli government and military called Project Nimbus. The group said that it will continue to demand that Google drop Project Nimbus, protect Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim employees, and reinstate the workers who were terminated. After the protests and sit-ins, Google last week said it had fired the first 28 employees for violating company policy governing employee conduct and harassment. Now, if you haven't already, you may want to take a look at your employment contract. You may want to take a look at what your company policy is around employee conduct and harassment, and make sure that, if you are participating in any protest related to any issue, that you're very clear on sort of what the rules of the road are. Once upon a time, if you were protesting, and as long as you didn't have on your company badge or you're wearing your company t-shirt, as long as you weren't representing the company, but really doing so as an individual and in your personal capacity, there was a time where companies were like, okay, that's the world according to you. But now that may not be so cut and dry, so black and white. And so be sure to check your employment agreement, check your employee manual, and look at employee conduct and harassment, and see what your company says about your ability to protest. I have a feeling this isn't the last that we have heard of this sort of action on behalf of companies who may take issue with how their employees protest, if their employees protest at all. You're listening to a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The station you turn to when you had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me finish with this. Just earlier in the week, just yesterday, really, we reported that an intruder broke into LA Mayor Karen Bass's home. Well, the LA Times is reporting that that intruder made it to the second floor. This is what we know. There's still some unanswered questions about the intruder who police say broke into LA Mayor Karen Bass's official residence on Sunday. No one was hurt in the incident, and police arrested Ephraim Hunter, 29. A motive for the break-in remains unclear, but the LA County prosecutors are reviewing the case. We know on Sunday afternoon, officials offered sparse details about the incident, announcing only that an arrest had been made. And we know that neither Bass nor the LAPD have provided additional details, but two law enforcement sources who requested anonymity because they weren't authorized to discuss the case with the media told the LA Times that Hunter made it to the second floor of the home, causing Bass to hide to protect against the intruder. And so, I think there are a number of folks in LA that are surprised that anyone could break into the mayor's mansion and get as far in as they did. I'm sure more details will come out related to this case, but another sign of the times. We're just glad that LA Mayor Karen Bass and her family are safe. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village that helps us to produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tabitha Smiley, our sound engineer extraordinaire, Miles Lowe, our show producer, Robert Battles, and our podcast publishing guru, Odell Bodie, and to each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. Remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. You've been listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.